Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is James Steiner, and welcome back to Hate Plus. I know I have not recorded in almost 2 weeks. I do apologize for that. I still remember a lot of the stuff that's supposed to be here and all that jazz. So we're going through all the political papers, trying to figure out all the bureaucracy and all that stuff that's changing on the ship, and these are all the official notes of all these meetings that Mute, as well as the captain, as well as all the other government officials on the ship, as they slowly turn the ship into what it is by the time Hwane shows up and wakes up from her medically induced coma. So let's just go on to the chief counselor. It's probably going to be really boring. Oh, this is what Mute and Smith and Seo Young were talking about. Oh, so yeah, thank you for spoiling what it is that they were going after. Okay, so let's see what exactly is going on. Hyun-ae. Chief Counselor Smith of the state. Let's not waste any time getting to the biggest order of business for today, deciding on my successor for the position of Chief Counselor. Counselor Lee of Culture. Point of order, before we continue, will you be stepping down as Counselor of State at the same time? Chief Counselor Smith. Yes, consider it a complete retirement from politics. Who will be taking your position then? Smith In-chul will be taking it. I trust there are no objections to this. No photo. This is the first time they've mentioned him. Okay. Note, Smith In-chul is the eldest son of Chief... Oh, he's the eldest son of Chief Counselor Smith. Oh, that is hilarious. Okay, so they're keeping it within the family. Good to know. So, Chief Counselor Smith of the state. Good. Moving on. Are there any more nominations from the floor for a new Chief Counselor? I'd like to nominate the Counselor of Captaincy for the position. Oh, I know him. That's Emperor Taejo, the first emperor of the new dynasty. He was born Ryu Hyun-soo. In the past, he was Chief Counselor. His brother Ryu Kwang-soo was involved with bribing counselors. So it was within a generation that everything went to shit? I don't believe that. That can't be right. As they sound exactly the same as the guys that were in Hurt. Are they the same people? Are they the same people? That's Emperor Taejo, the first emperor from the new dynasty. He was born Ryu Hyun-soo. In the past, he was chief counselor. His brother, Ryu Kwang-soo, was involved with bribing counselors. Is that something that's just in your memory bank, or do you remember them because those are the same people? As it sounds eerily familiar from the last game. It's been too long since I played. I should have done these back to back. Counselor Kim, Engineering and Science. Wait, what? Counselor O. Counselor Lee. The Counselor of Culture was from the Lee family. Okay. Counselor Yang of Justice. Seconding the lovely Counselor Security's nomination for Ryu. Who is this guy? Was really friendly to Mute. Yeah, obviously. Counselor Lee of Culture. At the risk of being... Gosh, seconding my... At risk of being... Is that how you pronounce that word? I don't even know. Ugh. It's gonna bug me if I don't look it up. Goosh? That's how... Lacking ease or grace, unsophisticated and socially awkward. At risk of being gauche, seconding my nomination. Okay. Are there any others? Counselor Zhou of Agriculture. Nope. Counselor Kim, Engineering and Science. I'm nominating myself. Ooh! Counselor Smith. Is there a second for Counselor Kim? Oh, and then there's silence. Well, this is kind of an awkward silence. Oh, Counselor Kim, Engineering and Science. Really? Counselor Milquetoast can get himself seconded, but not someone who actually runs something important? Wow. Counselor Ryu of Captaincy. Counselor Milquetoast. Counselor Security, Mute. Okay, you're not going to call out that. You're not going to call out that as out of order. Seriously? Counselor Smith. Yes, it's out of order. Counselor Mute. Let the record indicate that the chief counselor's remarks were prefixed by an overly dramatic sigh. Haha, wow, I always thought politics would be more civil. Not really. When you consider what I've heard of the British Parliament and how they do politics, yeah, this is right in line with that. Councillor Lee, this is getting awfully out of control. Councillor Smith. Councillor Kim, do you withdraw the remarks? Councillor Kim. No. I want to know what could possibly motivate anyone to nominate that man for the single highest position on the ship. Wow. Councillor Lee. It is an admittedly curious decision. Obviously, I'm not completely unbiased here, but I don't think he has the track record to support such a position. Councillor Yang. We've actually... Councillor Smith. Councillor Mute, if you would. Wow. They're going to steamroll this through. Councillor Mute. Yeah, of course. I'll be blunt. Right now, the most important thing to the continued stability of this ship is in how we deal with President Park and the idiotic democracy movement. Right? I mean, everyone agrees with that, yeah? Therefore, our job is to undermine his actions at every turn, right? Again, nobody's arguing with that, are they? Huh. Yeah. She's basically spilling the beans to everyone here. Councillor Kim, how is electing Ryu as chief counselor going to do that? How is it not going to send a stronger message to have someone with an established record? Councillor O, I also don't understand the reasoning. Councillor Mute, simple. We don't want to look like the president is our enemy. If we strongly oppose him, we only make the movement stronger. Councillor Lee, tell me, what's your proposed new direction for the council? Councillor Lee, I don't propose a new direction. I don't believe in compromising to hooligans. We need to draw a line that firmly lets the peasantry know that the High Council of the Mugunghwa won't yield to their arrogance. More importantly, one that assures the noble families that actually run the ship that we won't hang them out to dry. Councillor Mute, I don't disagree with the principle. I don't like compromise either. Councillor Ryu, I'll hand this over to you. Councillor Ryu, it's simple. We don't compromise. It's no new direction. It's the same direction as always. We protect the best interests of the ship and maintain the social order that's worked for centuries. Inside this room, nothing changes. Councillor Kim. Then what was Councillor Mute going on about? Councillor Ryu. Inside this room, nothing changes. Outside, we're the face of reform. We're the best friend of the average man who got so excited to elect President Park. President Park will propose whatever nonsense he'll propose, and we'll say, yes, of course we'll do that, with some changes, but we're just as interested in reform as you. But inside this room, nothing changes. Councillor Mute. And that's how it's done, boys and girls. Efficient and subtle. That's why Councillor Ryu is perfect. He doesn't have an established track record. We put him as chief counselor, and he says he believes in reform. They're not going to be able to argue with that. Ingenious, except for one thing. You're essentially turning the captain into a scapegoat for if everything goes wrong. I think Mute is highly aware of that, and I think the chief of state is also aware of that. Because then he just comes right back in. Councillor Lee. Interesting. Councillor Mute. Come on, Councillor Lee. Surely you can see that this is what's appropriate for the moment. Like, under any other circumstances, you know I'd happily vote for you. Believe me, I have not safeguarded this ship's security for 1,600 years just to hand it over to a bunch of fools, okay? But you know, she sure keeps bringing up her age, doesn't she? Quite a bit. Sometimes you give them the stick, sometimes you give them the carrot. Right now, we need the carrot. Councillor Yang. Then we poison the carrot. Poison... Mute. Yeah, sure, whatever. That's some kind of metaphor. But you see my point, Councillor. Councillor Lee. Who else stands with you? Councillor Yang, Councillor Ryu. Anyone else? Councillor Smith. Strongly. It's why I'm stepping down. The High Council needs a new face. A real new face. Not simply the same old established figures the peasantry already hates. Councillor Zhou. It's a good argument. This is, kind of boring, honestly. Not really, it's fascinating. Councillor Li. In that case, it doesn't look like anyone else is likely to get the 6-vote supermajority needed, then, is it? Alright, Councillor Ryu, I hope the Chief Councillor's faith in you isn't misplaced. I withdraw my nomination. Councillor Kim. Really? Councillor Zhou. As a point of order, it's long past the point where we usually take a break. Is that a motion for a recess? Yes. I'll second it. Well, very well. Very well. We'll reconvene in 1 hour. It's not boring. It's how everything got the way it is. Okay, so the Motherhood Credit Act. Let's see what this is about. So Ryu was Chief Counselor by then, I guess. Yep. By the dates, yeah, that makes sense. Chief Counselor Ryu of Captaincy. Next on the list, the proposed Motherhood Credit Act. I'm tabling this one myself. You can find the text of the act in the 10th appendix of the session's agenda, as well as relevant charts and data in the 11th through 15th. Councillor Yang. We're sure burning through appendices fast. Councillor Ryu. My apologies. I'll try to keep this one concise then. Since I know you've all read this one anyway, we're approaching a serious demographic problem right now. Birth rates shipwide have been declining for years. The plan, simply put, is to provide an economic incentive for families to raise children. Councillor Lee. Exactly what sort of numbers are you proposing? I feel like I'm being buried underneath a giant pile of data. How much is this credit for? Nothing's being buried. It's just thoroughness. Wait, what did she say? Damn it, I missed it. Wind it back. Chief Counselor Smith wouldn't... Counselor Lee. Chief Counselor Smith wouldn't have allowed an item to be introduced with 4 appendices. Chief Counselor Ryu. They've been available beforehand for months. I haven't read them either. Lots of bickering. No kidding. I've read them, it's just unclear. What are the actual numbers? It's a complex breakdown with a number of factors. The bottom line, though, is that it will average to 20,000 silver for noble families per year and 5,000 silver for peasants' families per year. And really boring economic type stuff. Yeah, mute. Let the record show that Councillor Lee just let out a long whistle, which I'm seconding. Those are big numbers. I don't object on principle, but I would like an assurance that this isn't going to impact my department's budget. It's already stretched thin. Everybody's stretched thin, says the guy in engineering. The projection makes it seem like it's going to have a significant cost attached to it. Like, I'm not opposed either, I get the benefits. It's just, you know, the stability I worry about. Councillor Ryu. Councillor Smith, if you would. Councillor Smith. Right. There's no question this will be costly. We're looking for long-term results. But certainly this is not a project that can be sustained in the long term. If you look at Appendix 14, you'll see that the projected cost for the next 10 years will require a 15% tax increase. That's a lot. However, the projection also shows that with the estimated population increase, and this is being conservative, don't worry, we'll see an even payout after 22 years. Then a significant increase. I don't really get it. I do. The more people that they have actually working on the ship, the more people making money, the more people they can tax. It's kind of a domino effect. If things go as planned. How does that work? Councillor Smith. Appendix 15 is a report by the Mugunghwa University Department of Economics. You'll find that it explains thoroughly. Certainly, Councillor, but humor me. How does it work? Well, basically when the population goes up, it means the workforce increases, which means there's more people to do more jobs. So there's an increase in tax revenue overall, but a decrease in government labor costs, which is always the pain in the ass, pretty much. Really? I'm sure the Counselor of Education will vouch for the quality of the university's findings. Yes, of course. I'll stand by it. Very well, then. Counselor mute. Okay, but here's my problem. If you increase taxes on the lower class by 15%, there will be riots. Like, my office will be on fire within a week, and it turns out that costs even more of the money that's already tight to put out. We're talking actual straight-out riots. It's a security problem. Counselor Ryu. But the benefits would be... I get what the benefit would be. It just doesn't offset the cost of, you know, offices on fire. Sassy. She's always been sassy. Huh. Interesting. More workers would be a pretty good thing, though. Are you really going to exercise the security veto over this? Counselor Smith. If I may, a possible solution might be to offload the tax increase onto the noble classes. Ooh. This is a terrible idea. Just to hell with the whole act, I say. Counselor Me. No! It's a good idea! Peasants off having children is something I am all for. Peasants raising happy families to not set fire to anything. To be perfectly clear, I am very much in favor of the not setting fire to things option, okay? They can make the president look bad now. The Counselor of Security may be over-dramatizing a little. Counselor Ryu. Don't sound so certain. We need to find some sort of consolation for the refusal to carry out President Park's insane school credit idea. This just addresses a serious social issue as well as undercuts Park. If it's not this, it'll have to be something else. I don't care. I'm not voting for any act that will require a tax increase, let alone one supported by noble families alone. Yes, me neither. This is certainly going nowhere fast. Counselor Smith? Yeah. I'm sure something can be changed to address the counselor's concerns, right? Counselor Smith. Well, we could probably just take the funding from the surplus. It'll all balance out in the end anyway. I didn't think to submit any numbers on that, though. Counselor Ryu. Assuming the Counselor of State is correct, and no new taxes were levied on either the peasantry or noble classes, would anyone object? It'd be okay by me. Assuming the Counselor of State is correct, no, there would be no objection. Yes, fine, whatever, I don't care. Well, Kim, it seems like you care a lot. I would have no problem. Counselor Joe. What they all say. Great. Counselor Smith, please provide a new report on the feasibility of surplus financing for the Motherhood Credit Act. The item is tabled until then. Moving on. Okay, so they ended up tabling it for a while. So, it's break time. Really? Hey, it's a good time to take a break, isn't it? Some of the things we've been reading have been really intense. I don't really like some of the feelings they're bringing up in me. So let's take a break and talk about something else. That is. Sorry, geez, this is awkward. I just don't really know what to say. Yeah, I have nothing. I'm sorry. I guess after all I was taught, I'm pretty lousy at filling a silence, aren't I? Well, I guess we should just get back to reading then. That's something I'm good at doing. Sorry, I know it's really awkward. Hey, did you not see that one labeled The Death of Mute? I really think it's important that we read it. I'm just going to make it so that one gets included in the extraction. I really want to read it. I've got a bad feeling about this. No errors. Okay. I'm not doing that yet. I still have all those other ones to read. I'll read one more. Show unread. Oh, the Nobility Stipend Amendment. Alright, so how do they get around the tax issue? Chief Counselor Ryu. Next on the agenda is Proposed Amendment to the Consolidation of the Noble Class Act. I'm tabling this one personally. You can find the relevant text on the 8th appendix. It's short. It's just filling the loophole in how the nobility stipend is distributed. I've mentioned this before. Counselor Kim. Can we keep this one short so we can get to the part of the agenda that's important? Wow, I can't believe I'm saying this, but what Councillor Kim said. Okay, so what is this stipend to the Noble Act? I'll just read out the entire text of the amendment. The nobility stipend will only be distributed by the patrilineal family lines as officially registered and not paid twice to married couples. I can't recall seeing any report on this ever. Is it really a widespread problem? Councillor Ryu. Are you saying we should let people break the spirit of the rules just because it's not widespread? This does sound an awful lot like pedantry. Pedantry? I am not familiar with that word, and it's going to bug me otherwise. Oh, Google, Google, you are so great to me. Google, Google, tell me what pedantry is. That was so bad. Pedantry. Excessive concern with minor details and rules. Oh, okay, so excessive concern with minor details and rules. I don't know, if you're paying essentially double whatever it is to people instead of just the one payment, then yeah, that is an issue, because then that means they're getting more money. Alright, sorry, withdrawn. Does anyone object to this, or can we have the vote and move on? Let the record indicate there were no objections, and therefore a vote will be automatically called. How does the council vote? Wow, they're just blowing through this. Fine, the Council of Engineering and Science is in favor. Councilor O. The Councilor of Education is in favor. Councilor of Security is in favor of moving on. In favor. Councilor of Culture is in favor. Councilor of State is in favor, I guess. Councilor of Agriculture is in favor. The Councilor of Captaincy is in favor. The amendment passes unanimously. Right. Moving on to the main topic on the agenda. I don't really get why this is important either. Okay, so that has to do with money. So, this is the next thing that shows up. So is this the main thing on the agenda? Geez, so much cursing, even in politics. Okay, so let's formally begin day 9 of debate on the Meritocracy Act. Day 9. They're still debating it. Is there any hope of this being the last day? Good question. Councilor Ryu. Unless this council really is Unless this council really is the quote shit show unquote that President Park claims it to be, there shouldn't be any surprises. Everyone should be on the same page. Everyone better be on the same page. Councilor O of Education. Are we really going to have the word shit show in the council records? Yeah, it's hopeless. 3 more years of debate. Can't wait. That rhymed. That was kind of clever. If we could focus, please. I understand that several councilors have amendments they'd like to table. Councilor O. Very well, please refer to Appendix 201 for the text of it. Councilor Kim, unintelligible. Order! Please continue, Councilor O. Councilor O. It states essentially that the meritocracy exams will be run exclusively by the committee chaired by the president of Mugunghwa University, composed entirely of currently existing nobles, and that no person currently standing on the council will solicit or engage in any improper relationship with a member of the meritocracy committee with the purpose of falsifying exam results under penalty of essentially being barred from the exam. I don't get it. Okay, so that means that essentially students were fucking the people in charge of the exam so they would get better grades. That's essentially what it was saying. Wait, what? What does that even mean? Councilor O. Nothing? Oh, wow. The definition of improper relationship seems to be impossible for a family member to fulfill. Is that correct? Wow. That's correct. So it's functionally useless then. Councilor O. Again, that's accurate. Great! I love it. Functionally useless is the best kind of function. Then what's the point? The point is, my entire goal proposing the Meritocracy Act was to create the appearance of radical change that's consistent with what President Park has proposed in a way that won't actually change the status quo. Well, that won't change the status quo except for hanging anyone but the 8 families here out to dry. Counselor Kim. Oh no, not this again. What the hell, Counselor Yang? Who really cares about the nobility status of the Kang or Han families? They're not here. Counselor Mute. Like, I get the concern. It feels like betraying nobles for the sake of peasants, and I don't like it either, okay? But this is pretty clearly the best way out of this problem. Chief Counselor Ryu. We could stand to lose some dead weight anyway. I don't really like the tone of that. Counselor Mute. Man, what happened to no surprises? Counselor Lee. We've been here for 9 days. Has it not been made clear that there are bigger concerns than tone, Counselor Smith? Counselor Ryu. I would think your primary concern is that we're able to pass a budget, Counselor. Counselor Smith. Yeah, it is. Chief Counselor Ryu. Are there any objections to including Counselor O's amendment to the act? Only moral ones. Counselor? Counselor Smith. Sorry, strike the statement from the record. No. Counselor Ryu. Then the amendment is added to the act. Who else had an addition? Counselor Kim. I want to add an amendment that requires a member of each department to certify the exams. Oh, ha ha, well, alright. Various counselors, indiscernible interjections. Chief Counselor Ryu. Order! There will be order. Counselor Ryu. Thank you. What happened to no surprises? Don't do this, Counselor. Counselor Mute. I'd like to second the motion for Counselor Kim not to do this to us. Counselor Kim. Don't you want to make sure it's unnecessary and transparent? Counselor Lee. The purpose of the act is to be subtle, and that is hardly consistent with subtle. The rules effectively allow Mugunghwa University to ensure that as is anyway. Counselor Mute. Let's just move on right now, okay? Counselor Kim. Fine. Are there any other amendments any counselors wish to table? Yeah, actually, I do. Counselor Lee. It's co-authored by us. The text can be found in Appendices 191 to 192. The proposal is for all meritocracy exams to be broken into several brackets, and for the counselor position to be awarded to the oldest member of the top bracket. Counselor Mute. Does that really make a difference? Yeah, absolutely. It's simply to ensure that someone can't take over a position just by scoring a few points better than one of us. There's some smart kids in my family. I'd rather not the position be lost to them just because of a 2-point difference, for instance. Oh, okay. Fair enough. Any objections? Counselor Ryu. The item is added to the act, then. Any other proposed amendments? Counselor Ryu. No? Counselor Lee. Could it be that the end is finally in sight? Finally, after 10,000 years of debate, it's time to vote. Wow. Harsh. It's about time. How does the Council vote on the amended act? The Council of Security is in favor. Council of Culture. I still think this is a terrible idea, but I'll vote in favor. Councilor of State votes in favor, but let the record show that I'm not comfortable with it either. In favor. Councilor of Justice in favor. In favor. The Meritocracy Act passes unanimously after 9 days of debate. That concludes the agenda for this session. I'm personally going to motion to... Prorogue... I think that's a typo. I'm having trouble thinking of what word that would be. Okay? It's really bugging me at the moment. I'm personally going to motion to... It should be postponed, right? Council until after exams are conducted, as soon as the act is signed by the president. Okay, so as soon as it's signed and as soon as the smug jerk has choked on his shit show crack, I'll second the chief counselor's motion. Still don't really get it. Assuming the act is signed with no problems, we'll reconvene after the meritocracy exam results are confirmed. See you in 3 months then. Let's go home, counselors. Council is dismissed. Okay, so essentially they need to do an exam. Okay, I've got to do one more. The new council. Oh, who gets replaced? Does someone get replaced? Oh no, does this mean I have to remember a whole new set of confusing names? Looks like it. The Mugunghwa High Council session for June 27th, 4042 has now begun. This is the first session since the meritocracy exams, and there's a lot of new faces here. Congratulations, counselors. Counselor Yang, plus one very old face. This is the first time we read about this person. Click their name. Okay. Okay, so he's still chief counselor. But now we've got a new counselor. We got Counselor Yang. Counselor, boy, you're not going to go very far if you don't learn to respect your elders, like now. Counselor Yang. Just an observation. Counselor Ryu. Moving on. There are a lot of items on the agenda that have been put forward by various counselors. Unless you'd rather spend your time bickering, I'd suggest we get started. Counselor Mute. Okay, let's get on with it. Counselor Ryu. First on the agenda is a tribute consolidation proposal from Counselor Smith. You can find the full text of it in Appendix 1. You have the floor, Counselor. Counselor Smith. There are a lot of the same names. Thank you, sir. I'd like to propose moving a variety of small taxes and tributes and consolidate them into... Counselor Mute. No, absolutely not. Geez, Mute seems kind of pissed. Counselor Smith. If you just let me finish, I think you'll find it agreeable. Counselor Mute. You're proposing that the noble family save some money by dumping it on the peasantry. This is absolutely crazy. Counselor Han of Engineering. Wait, I thought engineering was supposed to be our family. Why is his name Han? Okay, so one of the Han family kicked out the Hyun family, apparently. That's interesting. You know, I read the proposal, and it seems like this is shit that should be covered by them anyway. It's not like nobles have use for example, the inner deck rail system. What's your problem, Mute? Counselor O. I am also in favor. Counselor Mute. Good for you. My problem, Mr. Han, is that this is going to be a heavy burden on a peasantry that, as of this moment, actually doesn't hate us right now. Like, seriously, is that going to be the first action of the new High Council? Piss away all our goodwill? We're really okay with that? Counselor Yang. I think everyone but you is really okay with that, yes. Counselor Mute. I don't care. I'll security veto if I have to, okay? Counselor Smith. Can she do that? She's really intense. Yeah. If there's cause for it. Counselor Mute. There is all kinds of cause for it. It's tantamount to declaring war on the peasantry, which would be really stupid after all we've worked for. And it's also a security risk. We do that, it's going to lead to public demonstrations. Look, like, I appreciate what you're trying to do here, okay? It sounds like she was stopping a lot of bad ideas, though. Yeah. I get it. I totally do. You're right. Transferring it would be more fair. And I'm sure everyone here wants to save the extra silver. And you're new, so, like, I get it. But you need to understand, that is not how we do things here. The makeup of the council may have changed, boys, but it's still important that we're subtle in our actions. This is not subtle, okay? Counselor Yang. That's sanctimonious. Counselor Mute. That's the truth. Counselor Mute. Look, no vote is going to happen on this, okay? No matter what. Take the proposal back and find a way to do it that won't enrage the peasantry, then we'll talk about it again. That's the bottom line. Counselor Smith. If that's the only way. Counselor Mute. It really is. Counselor Ryu. Then let's move on to the next order of business. Counselor Tay and Counselor O have a proposal that would... Counselor Mute. No! Counselor Ryu. Pardon me? Counselor Tay. Will you not even let me speak? Counselor Mute. Save your breath. It is a terrible idea. The effect will be that no peasant will be able to use any of the ship's computers. You realize this, right? Counselor Tay. That isn't what it says, Counselor Mute. Oh, come on! You know that's going to be the effect, though. This is kinda insane. What's wrong with encouraging the peasantry to seek out a proper education? Counselor Mute. Because it's not going to encourage them to do that. It's going to encourage every single person who's ever written a letter with the word democracy in it to riot. Like, we're going to see things on fire. Probably even outright banditry. Counselor O. It's important that we raise the level of literacy. As the meritocracy exam results demonstrated, it's a massive problem even in upper classes. Counselor Mute. Yeah, well, if you think it's going to have that effect, then you are even dumber than your predecessor. Harsh. Yep. Counselor Yang. That's completely out of line. Counselor Mute. Yeah, withdrawn. But find another way to promote this agenda, one that won't end in my department needing to put out fires. Counselor Tay. Will you abuse your security veto for everything this council puts forward? Counselor Mute. Just watch me. Ooh, that's why they tried to get rid of her. I think they did. Counselor Ryu. Then there's no point in prolonging this. Next item on the agenda is a proposal tabled by Counselor Yang, the proposed Electoral Monitors Act. You can find the text of it on the 5th appendix. I hope you won't be vetoing this one out of hand, Counselor Mute. Counselor Mute. Well, I don't like the part where it takes money out of my budget for officers not under my control, but I don't think it's a security risk, no. Counselor Yang. For everyone else, the purpose of the act is to provide independent third-party monitors for the presidential elections to ensure they occur without the fear of tampering that's lingered in the past. I'm sure the Counselor of Security will attest to how much of a problem this can be. Counselor Mute. Yeah, it's a problem. No dispute there. Taking it out of my budget is kind of problematic, though. Counselor Ryu. Counselor Smith, can you think of any alternative funding sources the act could be amended to use? Counselor Smith. No, in fact, I don't see any reason to put it to a debate. It looks like Counselor Mute will simply have to deal with it. I'm moving to call a vote immediately. Oh. They're trying to cut the legs out from under her. Oh, I see how this is. Counselor O. Seconded. Counselor Tay. I'd also like to second it. Counselor Yang. Yeah, same. They're all conspiring against her. Counselor Ryu. That was much quicker than anticipated. Counselor Mute. Of all the petty. Well, call it then. I guess the rest of the council is just as hostile as her, huh? Counselor Ryu. How does the council vote? I'm in favor. Also in favor. Council of Engineering and Science is in favor. Council of Culture is in favor. Council of Captaincy is in favor. Education. Likewise. State. Councilor of State is in favor. Counselor of Security. Okay. The Counselor of Security is in favor. Counselor Ryu. The act passes unanimously then and will be sent directly to the President for signing. It's traditional at this point to take a break for the morning at around this time. I motion to recess. Counselor Mute. Seconded. Gladly. The council will reconvene in an hour then. Dismissed. I'm getting into this. They're trying to cut everything out from under her. I'll read one more. I want to see how they undercut her again. Counselor Ryu. Before I declare council break in session, I'll ask, have the councilors with differences on the one lineage amendment resolved them, or will this simply be a repeat of this morning? Counselor Mute. I'm okay. Counselor O. I think we've come to acceptable terms. Counselor Ryu. Then we can proceed. Council is now in session and the floor is open. Counselor Smith. I like to modify my amendment to stipulate that all of the provisions are optional, and the member of the family who receives the nobility stipend can be selected arbitrarily by the counselor. Counselor Han. What's the point of that? Counselor O. The point is that not every family is led by the eldest son. If we are to restrict the nobility stipend to a single branch of the family, it is important that it's not given to the wrong one. As we discussed this morning, Counselor Mute. Like, at length. I don't really get all this stuff about money. It's all power play. They're all trying to get head on into it. They're trying to get nice little benefits for themselves while still making it look like they're being democratic about it. Counselor Han. So why not just give it directly to counselors then? Counselor Ryu. As the Counselor of Security would say, more subtlety is required. It's better to make it about families than about individual men. Counselor Security. That isn't something I'd say. Chief Counselor Ryu. Do you still disapprove of the act, even with Counselor Smith's amendment? Counselor Mute. Well, I still think this one lineage nonsense is a stupid idea. I don't see any point in prioritizing elder sons in particular, even as a statement, and alienating branch families has absolutely no logic to me. This is going to have all kinds of serious repercussions in the future. They're not going to be on my family, though. You want to hoist yourselves up on your own petards. That's okay by me. I definitely disapprove of the act. But in the capacity of the Counselor's security, I won't object. Counselor Smith. That will suffice then. Counselor Ryu. Are there any counselors that do have objections or further items to propose? Counselor Zhou. None that have a chance of carrying, no. Counselor Ryu. Then Counselor Smith's item is added to the amendment then, and the debate is closed. How does the council vote? In favor. The Council of Agriculture is against. Sorry, but I have to tell my family I tried. Also against, for the record. Counselor Tay. In favor. Counselor of Engineering and Science is in favor. Counselor of Education is in favor. Counselor of Captaincy is in favor. Counselor of Security is against. Have fun explaining this one to your cousins, boys. It's not on me. The amendment carries. 5 in favor, 3 against. Moving on. Wow. A lot of interesting stuff. Okay, so that explains the political turmoil and why eldest sons end up being very important. It also explains what exactly is going on with all that nonsense. Jesus. But yeah, you're seeing when I'm recording this. I'm going to be posting it. Well, you're going to see it going up today, which is going to be Sunday. But I'm going to be at Anime Expo, which should be really, really fun if everything goes to plan. Hopefully everything goes smoothly. I get to enjoy myself, and then I'll be back. Oh, I have to do one more video for Monday. What am I going to do for Monday? I think I'll try and play some Overwatch with my brother whenever I get back from errands tomorrow, which will be Thursday, which will be day 0 of the event, and all that fun stuff. Okay, so now I see why they want to get rid of Mute. They consider her an obstacle in their way for ensuring their family's dominance, while also trying to maintain the supposed guise of being a democracy. But these guys aren't doing very well with that whole guise, whereas the old council, they got the idea, mostly. And now Mute is basically fighting claw and tooth to keep things in line, because these knuckleheads have no idea what they're doing. It's hilarious. But I wonder what they try to do to get back at her and to try and get rid of her so she's not an issue. Maybe that's why she looked young again. Maybe they reset her so that they could get that stuff through. Anyway, I'm overthinking it. Thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to click that like button, share, favorite, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.